This session is on Vaishnavism and literature. The first paper of the session is going to be on Bhāsa's place. Benedictions in Bhāsa's place, Veneration of Viṣṇu on the Sanskrit stage.
ஓம் தத்சத். அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். இண்டிகா என்னும் நிறுவனம் நமது பாரத தேசத்திற்கு பெருமையாக அமைந்த தத்துவங்களையும் பண்புகளையும் பராமரித்து பாதுகாத்து பரப்பி வர கடந்த 8 ஆண்டுகளாக ஈடுபட்டு வருகிறது. இன்று இண்டிகா குழுவினரால் ஸ்ரீ ஆண்டவன் கல்லூரியினருடன் சிறப்பாக ஏற்பாடு செய்யப்பட்டுள்ள வைணவ மாநாட்டில் நாடு முழுவதிலிருந்தும் ஆர்வலர்களும் ஆர்வம் கொண்டவர்களும் அன்பர்களாக திருவரங்கத்திற்கு அருகில் கூடியுள்ளோம். இந்த மாநாட்டில் கலந்து கொள்ள வாய்ப்பிற்கு நன்றியுடன் நான் பேசப்போவது வடமொழி நாடக மேடைகளில் இசைக்கப்பட்ட திருமாலை மையமாக கொண்ட The verse we just saw is one among 11 benedictory verses that seek the blessing of Narayana for the audience, that appear along with the Bhāsa plays, also called the Trivandrum plays. In some cases, the benedictions have a clear thematic overlap with the content of the plays, which include 2 based on the Ramayana, 6 on the Mahabharata, and 1 on the Krishna Charita. The antiquity of the historical Bhāsa is attested in Kalidasa's mention of him, but the rediscovery of the plays ascribed to Bhāsa was as recent as just a century ago by Mahamahopadhyaya Ganapati Shastri between 1912 and 1915. And these rediscoveries were in the Travancore region, and the recovered scripts belong to the repertoire of the Chakyars, traditional performers of the Kudiyattam dance form. There is a long-standing debate on the traceability of the play's contents to the historical Bhāsa and the extent of alterations and additions within the Kudiyattam ecosystem. But this is not detracted from interest in the plays themselves. This study accordingly is organized along 2 tracks: an internal review of the Vaishnava benedictions in the context of the plays and the Itihasa Purana source material, and an external review placing these benedictions side by side with verses from other theatrical and devotional works which bear the stamp of their own historical periods. Now, the authorship question around the Trivandrum plays was not considered settled, neither by C.R. Devadhar, who brought out the critical edition of all the 13 plays, or by the translators Woolner and Sarup, who consider it likely that the benedictory verses were later compositions. In Bhāsa studies since then, there is a variety of stances on this so-called Bhāsa problem. Acharya Baladeva Upadhyaya largely operates from the position that the 13 plays are by the historical Bhāsa. N.P. Unni treats the authorship question as open. In this presentation, the perspectives from both these standpoints are not presented separately, but simultaneously and contextually as we examine the individual verses. So we will sample of 4 verses to illustrate how the typical form is "May he protect you," that is Sapayat or Sapatu, with several descriptors of him who protects. These descriptive epithets, which evoke and celebrate the glories and exploits of Viṣṇu and his avatars, turn what would be plain benedictions like "God bless you" into grand venerations. In the Bhāsa plays, 2 substantial multi-act plays based on the Ramayana are the Pratima Nataka and the Abhisheka Nataka. And in their benedictions, we can see glimpses of the benevolent and valorous aspects of Rama. So with the Pratima Nataka we have the Mangalapadya, Sita Bhava Patu Sumanta Tushta, Sugriva Ramash Sahalakshmanasya, Yo Ravanarya Pratimashya Devya Vibhishanatma Bharatoni Sargam. The foremost emphasis here is on the charm and graciousness of Rama. We notice names like Sita, Lakshmana, Sumantra, which occur as parts of epithets of Rama himself. For instance, Bharata here is an epithet for Rama himself in the sense of he who bears or he who supports. And weaving the names of characters in the play into the opening verse is something we see in others of the Bhāsa plays, But these typically have been found rather forced and contrived and have not overall won much critical acclaim. In the Abhisheka Nataka benediction, we see a different Rama from the gracious prince accompanied by Sita. This is Rama in separation from Sita with a more fierce aspect. Yogadhi putra makhavigna karabhihanta, yudhe viradha khara dushana virya hanta, darpodya tolbana kabandha kapindra hanta, payat savo nishicharendra kulabhihanta. The repetition of hanta or slayer is striking here, highlighting the apparent irony of seeking protection from a slayer. This pair of verses illustrates how the gracious and fierce aspects of Rama have always been part of the popular imagination, rather than the fierce aspect being a politically motivated latter-day construct as some contemporary media talking heads allege. We saw in Dr. Varada Sambhu's presentation today of how Samarth Ramdas missed this fierce Rama with a terrific aspect. Krishna, during his Manushyavatara himself, reveals both a cosmic Vishwarupa and a forearmed Viṣṇu-rupa. And in the Trivandrum play Benedictions, we see a more primal Viṣṇu-rupa evoked even when the context of the play is closer to the Krishnavatara. The Gokula and Mathura portions of the Krishnavatara are the subject of the Balacharita, a play in which Krishna is referred to throughout as Damodara. The benediction itself, however, refers not just to Damodara, but goes Shankha Kshira Vapuf Pura Krita Yuge Namna Tu Narayanas Tretayam Tripadarpita Tribhuvano Viṣṇu Suvarna Prabha Durva Shyama Nibhasta Ravana Vadhe Ramo Yuge Dwapare Nityam Yonjana Sannibha Kali Yuge Vapatu Damodara. 4 manifestations through the ages like this are also spoken of in the Srimad Bhagavata Purana, in the Narada Vasudeva Samvada in the 11th Skandha of 5th Adhyaya. It is significant also that the name Viṣṇu is associated with the form that strode the worlds in 3 steps, like it is in the Rigveda itself, as we heard Dr. Ramaratnam recite at the beginning of his presentation. The Pancharatra is a Mahabharata based play, whose name itself and its copious reference to yajnas has led scholars to posit a religious affiliation of the historical Bhāsa with the Pancharatra Vaishnava tradition. The benediction weaves in names of several Mahabharata characters in the play, but what can be of more interest to us here is the emphasis on yajna and the reference to the name Virat. This is a name occurring in the Rigveda itself, in the Purusha Sukta, which itself describes a primal yajna. A yajna of 5 nights, a Pancharatra yajna, is described as having been performed by Narayana in the Shatapatha Brahmana, and this was cited by Dr. B.K.A.C. Nair during his presentation as well. Now, last week, on the day when the Janmotsava of both Adi Shankaracharya and Srimad Ramanujacharya were celebrated, I had the opportunity to hear a lecture by Dr. Karnam Arvind Rao, who quoted a declaration from the Gita Bhashya of Adi Shankara, which goes, Yajño vai Viṣṇu. That Viṣṇu himself is Yajna has no less been a part of our vision of Viṣṇu than seeing him in numerous avatars. Krishna of Kurukshetra is the one whose guidance is sought at the start of a play set at the end of the Kurukshetra war, the Urubhanga. Bhishma Drona Tatam Jayadratha Jalam Gandhara Raja Pradam Karna Drona Prupormi Nakra Makaram Duryodhana Srotasam Tirna Shatru Nadi Sharasa Sikatam Yena Plavena Arjuna Shatrunam Taraneshu Vassa Bhagavan Astu Plavak Keshava. Now, the similarity with the commonly recited Dhyana Shloka for the Bhagavad Gita is too striking to be missed. Besides glimpses of Rama and Krishna in the benedictions, which relate in varying degree to the content of the plays themselves, we also find glimpses of other avatars in the benedictions and unrelated to the plays, like those of Vamana and Balarama. In these verses, we can see how a foot or the arms of the deity are what protection is sought from. Upendrasya pada payat, may the foot of Upendra protect you. Pado hare payat, may the foot of Hari protect. Balasya bhujao patam, may the arms of Bala protect. This sort of prayer addressed to just one facet or one aspect of a divine presence is not at all uncommon in devotional poetry. Jayadeva, early in the Gita Govinda, wishes that the chest of Madhusudana in the embrace of his beloved fulfills all our desires. Leela Shukla similarly wishes in the Krishna Karnamrita that the glow of the youthful Krishna's form protect us. An observation here is that the benedictions of the Bhāsa plays do not have Sringara as a dominant theme. In the verses we saw so far, the consort of Bhagavan does not prominently appear. The verses we'll see next hail her presence. Sridhara is the name and Narasimha is the form in the benediction at the start of the Karnabhara, a Mahabharata based play. There is no thematic relation to the play itself. It is notable, however, that several of the Bhāsa plays refer to a righteous ruler called Rajasimha in the concluding benediction of Bharatavakya, which seeks prosperity for the entire ruler's realm. And this has prompted speculation among scholars regarding the placement of the historical Bhāsa during the reign of a ruler with the title Rajasimha, like the Pallava emperor. It bears considering whether the reference to Narasimha here is symbolic of a ruler named Rajasimha presiding over the land's prosperity. I will conclude with the benedictory verse of the play Avimaraka. The play itself is unrelated to the avatars, but the benediction stands out in how many avatars it names. The verse's juxtaposition of Varaha and Narasimha avatars with the primal Narayana may remind us of iconographic and architectural analogues like the Vaikuntha Chaturmurti or Parshva Devatas at a temple Vimana, like at the temple of Jagannatha at Puri. The verse is about the intimate association of the earth, Vasudha, with Narayana across ages and across avatars. And it is fitting as a Bharatavakya for us to wish for righteous rule and prosperity of our motherland. Utshiptam sanukampam salila nidhi jalad ekadamshtragra rudham akrantam aji madhye nihata ditisutam ekapadavadhutam sambhuktam pritipurvam swabhuja vashagata ekachakrabhiguptam Shriman Narayanaste Pradishatu Vasudham Uchritaekata Patram. Om Thirtha.